Let us enter a little more complex part in ad hoc wireless network, which is called as routing. And then you have studied about TCP. So how TCP is applicable over ad hoc network. So this second module is actually having or clearly having two different parts in it. So first part is explaining different types of routing protocol, and second part is actually explaining how the TCP can be implemented over ad hoc network. So this is also a mainly theoretical thing, but there are a lot of concepts, there are a lot of network related concepts that we are going to find out in this chapter. So let us first find, or in the first lecture I had explained what is the difference between routing and forwarding. So again I'll explain that. So I'll start with that definition. So routing means there is a sender, there is a receiver, and from sender to receiver there are many paths over which the packet can be transmitted from sender to the receiver. There will be four paths, okay, from connected from the sender to the receiver, through which the packet can be transmitted. And every path is having some intermediate nodes, some routing nodes, some peer nodes, and other thing. Depending on the different criteria, depending on different there are certain conditions of intermediate nodes and links. That network decides which is the best path to transmit the packets from the transmitter to receiver. So not necessary that the four paths are equally possible that we can transmit data over equal four paths, or all four paths are good, not possible. In some path maybe there is a link breakage, in some path some node might be having very less energy, so we would like to avoid that path. So I give you the same example that from Belgaum you want to go to Mumbai, or from Belgaum you want to go to Bangalore. There are four different highways. Okay, so you are not going to choose all the four highways. Okay, one highway you will choose and remaining three you will discard. So you have not started the journey, but before journey there is a plan in your mind that if I want to reach Bangalore safe, in that case in the shortest time, then I should choose this path A. So in your mind you decide first and then you execute. So that selection of a path for a set of data transfer, okay, that process is called as routing. Okay, and then when the data is transmitted over there, the packets are put on the channel after checking if there is already any congestion in that path or not. So that thing is called as packet forwarding. So packet forwarding comes later. Routing or selection of path in mind, that comes first. Okay, so that is actually routing protocol. And how TCP based routing is possible in ad hoc network, that will be the second part. So let us start with the routing protocol first, and then we will go for the second part. So these are some of the topics as per your syllabus. So you can see that up to topic number 5. So first topic is issues in designing a routing protocol. So what is, how the routing protocol is designed, the conceptualization part is there, that will be explained first, so it will be done today. Then classification of routing protocol, similarly classification of MAC we have seen previous case, contention based without reservation, contention based with reservation bandwidth, and contention based with scheduling. So all they were three different MAC protocol. So in case of routing also we will be finding there are different criteria out of which the classification of routing is done. Then there is coming the third one, which is called as hierarchical routing protocol. So in hierarchical routing protocol, we will find fish eye based routing protocol or something. Then there is coming power aware routing protocol. So I told you that there are mainly three issues in case of ad hoc wireless network. First issue is the mobility of node. That means node mobility will be there in case of any ad hoc network, but with that node mobility also, the packet may be transmitted from the transmitter to the receiver. So we have to ensure the quality of service even if there is node mobility. So first issue is mobility. Second issue was power constraint. That means all the sender nodes, all the receiver nodes, they are having limited resource of power. That means battery backup is limited. Then also the routing, packet forwarding, acknowledgement, data, all those processes related to data transmission has to happen. Okay, so power control is the second issue in case of any ad hoc wireless network, and third issue is bandwidth constraint, and within a constant bandwidth also how the packet transmission and all these things will take place. So three issues. Um, uh, First one is mobility, second one is power control, third one is bandwidth control. So here fourth protocol, which is called as power aware routing protocol. So in the previous lecture just now, we have seen that power aware or PCM, there is power control map protocol. In case of routing also, there is power aware routing protocol. Okay, so always I am telling you, power saving becomes a very big issue in case of ad hoc wireless network. Then last topic in protocol of routing is coming. It is called as multicast routing in ad hoc wireless network. Okay, so I told you there are mainly three types of casting. One is called unicast, one-to-one communication, so one transmitter, one receiver. Next one is broadcast, that is one transmitter and many receiver. And third one is multicast, that is many transmitter and many receiver. So probability of collision in multicast routing is very high. Okay. So in that situation also, what are the different issues in designing multicast routing protocol? That we have to find out. Then classification of multicast routing protocol. Okay, so classification means there are many types of routing protocol, multicast routing protocol. What are the basis on which it is classified, and what are the different types of multicast routing protocol. So initially, whatever routing protocol we check in the first four topics, it will be mainly unicast kind of a broadcast kind of a routing protocol. That is, there is only one sender and maybe one receiver or many receiver. So that is comparatively easier kind of routing. But whenever there is multicast, that is many sender and many receiver, then the collision thing comes into picture, and whenever there comes a probability of collision, the routing becomes more complex. So third one is in multicast, there is tree based multicast routing protocol, and fourth one is mesh based multicast routing protocol. So we will be using the book of Murthy only, and soft copy is already sent to you, and in that there are three chapters, that is 7th, 8th and 9th. You will be finding all topics mentioned in your syllabus in this chapter 7th, 8th and 9th. Okay, so just keep on checking the 7th, 8th and 9th chapter of the book Murthy. All these topics you will be finding in that 7th and 8th chapter and 9th chapter. Okay, and remaining topics, that is design issues of TCP for ad hoc network, TCP over ad hoc, so there are different 5 types of protocols, then application control TCP, all those things will come in the second half of or second part of this module 2. Okay, so mainly now we are concentrating only on the first part, that is the first 5 topics of routing protocol. Okay, so we'll start with the issues in designing the routing protocol, and this whole module 2 will be there part of your IA. IA is scheduled on in between 19th to 21st of October. Before that, these topics will be finished. Maybe I'll be conducting some extra sessions, extra lectures. I'll be recording the things and I'll uploading it. And first you go through my slides, you understand the topics, then you go for the book. It will be easier for you to understand. Okay, so what is the first slide? Let us see what is the basics of routing protocol. So first thing what we see is ad hoc wireless network consists of a set of moving or mobile nodes. So again I am telling you the first issue in case of writing is mobility. Okay, so ad hoc wireless network consists of a set of moving or mobile nodes, which are also called as transmitters or hosts, connected by wireless links. Okay, so many nodes are connected by wireless links or wireless channels. Physical connectivity among nodes, which is also known as communication link topology, may keep on changing randomly. So whatever at the starting of the communication, the position of sender and receiver might change drastically, because each of the node might be having mobility within the ad hoc wireless network. So mobility is the worst thing that is affecting the performance or QoS of a ad hoc network. So in that case also, we have to ensure that data will be transmitted between sender to the receiver in a perfect manner. So there should not be any path breakage, there should not be any link breakage. So this first line is very important. So this line by line, if you read all the slides, you'll understand what are the main issues. Book is also having the same line. So this is taken from the book of Murthy only. So before going for the book reading, just listen, understand the concepts from the slides. Routing protocol that finds a path to be followed by the data packets from source to the destination. Okay, from the source to the destination, it is said, are different for ad hoc wireless network compared to the traditional wireless network. So there are two types of wireless network we have seen. So traditional means it is mobile network, cellular network, where there is a centralized base station. Whenever there is a request goes from a sender, it first goes from the sender to the centralized base station, and from the centralized base station it goes to the receiver. Okay, so base station is actually controlling the whole communication process. That is in case of centralized or infrastructure based network. But here we are concentrating on routing protocol for ad hoc wireless network, and ad hoc wireless network is having main problem of mobility. So what is this second paragraph is saying? Very important. Routing protocol that find a path to be followed by the data packets from source to destination. So data packet forwarding has not started. We are in our mind. We have to select one best path with best resources. What are the resources? Less mobility, higher node power, and higher or wider bandwidth. So these three are resources. So what are the resources? Less node mobility, higher amount of battery power for every node, and wider bandwidth allocated to every node. So all these three things should be there. So routing protocol that finds a path to be followed by data packets from source to destination with all these good resources. Okay. This issue is different in ad hoc wireless network compared to the traditional wireless network. Because traditional wireless network, whenever it is cellular network, main thing is it is having a principal, it is having a centralized base station. So that will be controlling all the communications. But ad hoc network, in case of ad hoc network, all these peer nodes, all the sender, receiver, intermediate nodes in a distributive control kind of a thing, they have to decide the path, and if there is mobility, then also the path should be kept intact. So it is very difficult. It's a very dynamic scenario with mobility, but then also the link should not be broken between transmitter and receiver. So what are the reasons that routing protocol in case of ad hoc network is little difficult, is little different? Those reasons are given below. So first reason, basic differences in designing routing protocol for a traditional wireless network and designing routing protocol for ad hoc wireless network. What are the basic differences? So this is a very important question for the exam. You have to elaborate all these points. So I'm mentioning 6 points here. First point is already shown. You have to elaborate all these points in the exam. So first point is ad hoc network has got mobile nodes. Mobile doesn't mean mobile phone. Mobile means with mobility. So ad hoc network has got mobile nodes and highly dynamically changing topology. Topology means I had shown you, so from the sender to the receiver, all the intermediate nodes, sender, receiver, the links in between together. Okay, either it is unicast, multicast, either it is single channel, multi-channel. So whenever all those things are put together and it looks like a image, okay, many sender, many receiver, many channels, many links, that is called as topology. That topology is varying with respect to time, very fastly varying in case of ad hoc network. So that's a very big challenge. So I told you that in case of ad hoc, first channel will be the dynamic or changing topology. The next point, ad hoc network does not have an established infrastructure because ad hoc network is infrastructure less. There is no centralized base station, there is no centralized administration, there is no base station or central access. So central access point, it's called CAP. CAP. Okay, base station is also called as CAP or centralized access point. Okay, so ad hoc network does not have a established infrastructure or centralized administration or no base station or central access point present in ad hoc wireless network. So ad hoc wireless network is like a college without a principal. So there is no central body who will be managing the whole show. So each of the sender node, each of the receiver node, intermediate peer node, routing nodes, they have to decide at that point of time, at any specific point of time, and they have to communicate and decide to keep the links intact. Okay, that's a very difficult job. So it's highly dynamic and it's a distributive kind of control. So every node has to be very smart, okay, to keep the control intact. So there is a second point, that there is no centralized control. Third point is bandwidth constraint. So I told you there are mainly three problems. First one is mobility, second one is power constraint, and third one is bandwidth constraint. So that third point is the same, that every node is given very less amount of bandwidth for data transmission. So wider is the bandwidth, more amount of data can be transmitted over the bandwidth. So huge chunk of data can be transmitted from sender to the receiver in a very shorter period of time. Okay, so that is easier. So whenever there is bandwidth very high for our mobile phone also, we have seen we are getting proper bandwidth over mobile phone, 4G, 5G, whatever. So in that case, very big videos can be downloaded maybe in 5 seconds or 10 seconds time. But if bandwidth is very less, maybe a very small size video is taking almost 1 hour to download. So that is what bandwidth does. If you are getting wider bandwidth, at that time huge amount of data can be downloaded very fast, can be sent from sender to the receiver very fast. Okay, but ad hoc wireless network is having the bandwidth constraint or bandwidth limitation problem. Okay, that means a huge amount of data cannot be transmitted within very short time from sender to the receiver. Okay, so that is a problem in case of ad hoc wireless network. Fourth thing, as I told you, this was my second point in the trouble. Ad hoc network has got resource and energy constraint nodes, because whatever battery is connected to the ad hoc network, they are having very limited amount of energy stored in it. Okay, too much use of same node for transmission and reception. For every transmission and reception, there is required some kind of power. Okay, transmission power is comparatively more, reception power, signal reception power is comparatively less, but then also while signal receiving, node has to spare or spend some energy. Okay, so too much usage of any single node is going to drain out the battery very fast. In that case, that battery is drained out, so that node cannot be used in any path for data transmission. So ad hoc network has got resource and energy constraint problem. So in that case, that ad hoc network has to always think of how it can save some energy, so that node can be used for longer period of time, so that network will be alive for longer period of time. Ad hoc wireless network has error prone channel state. So there will be many noise, there will be collision, there will be link breakage. Okay, there will be highly dynamic scenario, so that link will be broken. So some node might die, some node might malfunction. So all these are part of creating an error prone channel. So the sender from the receiver, it thinks that yes, the path is very smooth from sender to the receiver, but in between two nodes have died, you don't know. Okay, so you have planned to route the data through that channel, but it has some dead node in it, and data will not be routed properly. Like from Belgaum to Bangalore, you have decided there are 4 paths. Okay, so the shortest path you have chosen, but you don't know that that path has got damaged and car cannot go. So after traveling for 3 hours, you are finding that you have to reroute. So you might not like it. Okay, so knowing the overall state of the path from the sender to the receiver, whether all nodes are working fine, whether all nodes are having enough amount of battery backup, whether all links are working properly, there is no collision, there is no congestion of packet in node. So that overall network understanding is very much important for routing protocol. So that fifth point is very important, that ad hoc network has error prone channel state, and just sitting at the sender, we don't know that a channel has become full of error. Okay, so your routing plan and your data forwarding might get different. So after transmitting half of the packets, you might find suddenly one node is dead. Then how to reroute? Okay, that is also another ad hoc wireless network challenge. Okay, so error prone channel is one problem, and ad hoc network have got hidden and exposed terminal problem. So we have discussed enough of hidden and exposed terminal. So hidden and exposed terminals are actually disturbing the continuously ongoing current transmission reception process between a pair of sender and receiver node. So all these points you have to understand very clearly with respect to diagram, with respect to bigger theory or cases or examples. You have to explain all these 6 points. So these 6 points can be asked for 10 marks also. Okay, these 6 points can be asked for 5 marks also. So just don't write all the 6 points and leave. Okay, you have to explain it with proper explanation, proper details and diagrams and cases. So this is the basic difference between ad hoc routing protocol and traditional cellular, wireless or centralized control based wireless network. Okay, so ad hoc is having all these problems. So this is another question which are asked for actually 10 marks. So what are the design issues for designing routing protocol for ad hoc wireless networks? Again, whatever has been discussed in the previous slide, all those things are going to come, but with bigger explanation. So please go through all these explanations properly. I might not be explaining everything here. So first thing is node mobility. I have already told that higher node mobility between transmission and reception nodes, it causes topology change. Okay, that means the network structure keeps on changing very fast, and during the transmission is going on, suddenly there might be a topology change because one node might have gone out some direction. It is possible because node mobility is not constrained, or it is not told to the nodes that you cannot move. Because ad hoc network, that's why it is called ad hoc network, because any node can move out, any node can die, any node can go in any direction anytime. So it is highly flexible, it is highly dynamic, like that. So that high mobility of transmission between sender node and reception node, and during ongoing session also it can happen. So because of that, there can be path break. Even if there is a path break, the network should self heal. It should be able to do its troubleshooting then and there. And even if there is a path break, it should reroute all the data packets so that there is no packet loss. This is actually the challenge in ad hoc wireless network. It is said that wired networks, that means between sender and receiver, it is connected through wire. Wired networks find alternate routes during path break, okay, because it is connected through wire, but their data coverage rate is slow. Transmission through wire is having a limitation of data rate. Huge chunk of data, it cannot be transmitted by using network or wired communication. Okay, so network or wired communication is very safe because the data is enclosed in the wire. So nobody outside can breach the security and cannot play with the security of the data. So this is another important aspect of wireless and wired. So wired is very highly secured, but wireless is less secure because anybody can tamper with the data if they are able to break the security code. But on the contrary, wireless network can be very fast. Okay, but wired network is actually a little slow. So their data coverage convergence rate is slow. Hence, wired protocols are not used for network routing. Okay, so data convergence means data coming to the receiver together. So the data convergence rate or data rate of wired network is very less. That in case of wireless is very high. Okay, hence wireless, where you want higher data rate, higher data convergence, wireless is preferred. Okay. So routing protocol for ad hoc wireless network must be able to perform efficient and effective node mobility management. So from the very beginning, I am telling you this thing, that mobility is the worst thing that affects the ad hoc network. So the routing should be done even if there is huge node mobility. That is the first thing. Second design issue. So there are many design issues. You have to understand that, and you have to produce that in the exam. So there are 8-10 issues we will be discussing here. First issue is node mobility. Second one is bandwidth constraint. So wired network has unlimited bandwidth due to fiber optics. Okay, if you are using fiber optics, obviously the bandwidth becomes very high. It's called WDM. Okay, in wireless network, the radio band is limited. This causes less data rate compared to wired network. Okay, so if you are using a low frequency bandwidth, in that case, huge amount of data cannot be transmitted by using wireless communication. Hence, wireless routing protocol should optimally use the available bandwidth. So any bandwidth I am not getting from the sender to the receiver, though the sender is having huge amount of data, but bandwidth allocated to it is very less. Here is the same thing. You are downloading a huge amount of 1 GB video by using 3G, okay, or a very bad kind of network. In that case, what happens is the network will allow you to download in a very slow rate. So it will take quite a lot of time to download, even if a small data packet is there. So due to again mobility, so mobility and bandwidth, when they get together, it becomes very difficult. Okay, so first, ad hoc network, they are having very less bandwidth allocated to it because the whole bandwidth gets shared by all the channels. And then due to mobility in wireless network, more control overhead is generated. So this is another problem. What is control overhead? So whenever we are doing MACA transmission, we are finding first RTS is sent, then CTS is sent. If it is a MACA W transmission, so after RTS, CTS, we are sending DS. After that data is transmitted and finally acknowledgement signal comes back. So RTS, CTS, DS and acknowledgement, these four are called as control packets. These are called overheads. They are not carrying any data, but without them the protocol cannot work properly. So this is what is saying, due to node mobility in the network, more control overhead is generated. So I have to ensure first that transmitter and receiver are within each other's range, they are booked for transmission and they agree to transmit. How can we ensure that they agree to transmit? If they are exchanging RTS, CTS, DS, that means they are agreeing to transmit. Then the data transmission takes place, then the acknowledgement comes back. So because of all this node mobility, again all this protocol, RTS, CTS, DS, acknowledgement, these packets which are overheads, which are not carrying any data, but these have to be transmitted. Okay, so these are actually increasing the overhead. So more than the data, just to set the protocol, we have to use some control packets. They are actually eating the bandwidth. So due to mobility in the wireless network, more control overhead is generated, which wastes the limited bandwidth in wireless network. Unlike wired routing, wireless routing protocol does not require complete network topology information. So in case of wireless network, what we are finding is every sender node has to keep track what is happening in every corner or every direction of the network. So knowing the global network topology, maybe in one corner there is a congestion in the network, that will affect the transmission of one transmitter which is in the opposite end or in the safe end of the network. So in one corner there is a congestion that will affect the whole node mobility, whole routing protocol of the overall network. This is possible. That does not happen in wired routing. In wired routing, all the paths are set. If you send the data, definitely it will reach to the receiver. Okay, but wireless routing, it has to keep track of the overall network synchronization information, overall network congestion information. All those things have to be remembered, and to remember all those things, there is bigger usage of memory, there is bigger usage of bandwidth. So all this control packet has to be exchanged between all the nodes. That actually eats up a lot of bandwidth. So that is a big problem in case of wireless routing protocol. So this bandwidth constant, read this paragraph very carefully and try to understand everything very well in this. So one very important thing told here is because of this control overhead means acknowledgement date, acknowledgement, DS, CTS, RTS, they are using a lot of constant bandwidth. And moreover, wireless routing protocol has to keep track of global network topology, global synchronization. That means every node should know what is happening in the other node. This information exchange is also eating up a lot of bandwidth, which is not the case in case of wired routing. That means routing protocol in wired network. Third point is error prone shared broadcast radio channel. So wireless links has time varying link capacity and link error probability. So initially the link is working very fine because there is no other sender, other receiver. So one sender, one receiver, they are working very perfect, data exchange taking place. Suddenly there comes another sender and receiver channel which becomes up or which becomes active. That will change the overall network topology. So whole bandwidth will be shared by 50-50. So at the starting of the transmission, initially one sender, one receiver, one channel was acting. So whole bandwidth was offered to them. Then another end of the overall topology, another link is getting activated. So as per MAC protocol, for fair share of probability, the same bandwidth will be shared among two different channels. So data rate will become half, bandwidth will be shared. So all this sharing of bandwidth, sharing of resources, actually it is time varying. So So it is called as time varying link capacity and link error probability. So more efficient link is to be found for better data route job for the MAC. So what MAC does is it allocates the highest amount of bandwidth to the sender which is having huge amount of data or more important data. Some sender who is not having any data, there is no point allocating bandwidth to it. Okay, so MAC has to take care of all these issues, that which sender is important, which sender requires the channel more, which sender is having more sensed data for transmission. Accordingly, the MAC has to allocate the bandwidth to that specific sender node, and that actually affecting the routing. Okay, routing data through less congested path reduces collision among data packet and control packet. So control packet is RTS, CTS, DS acknowledgement, and data packet is transmitted after control packet. Okay, so routing data, so MAC and routing, these two protocols has to work hand in hand. You cannot say I'm writing a protocol for routing, but I am not going to check MAC. Not possible, because more efficient link is to be found for better data route quality. So if MAC protocol is proper, then only route protocol can be proper. Okay, so error-prone shared broadcast radio channel means whenever the bandwidth is getting shared, whenever the resources are getting shared, there is a probability that the overall communication capacity of the channel will get hampered. In that case also, how can you ensure quality of service? That is a big challenge in case of routing protocol. Hidden and exposed terminal problem. So MACA then improved to MACA W to solve this hidden terminal and exposed terminal problem. So hidden terminal problem was solved by DS. Exposed terminal problem was also solved by DS and ACK and all those things. Okay. So exposed transmitting terminal may send data simultaneously with main sender node and different range of frequency. So there is a FDMA kind of a thing. Okay, so first N1 and R1 is communicating, then N1 is sending DS signal, the N3 exposed terminal come to know that yes, now N1 R1 is going to make a pair. So N3 terminal will wait for a certain time, which time was actually defined by DS, and after that the N3 exposed terminal will start transmitting. And N1 R1 communication is happening over one frequency range, N3 R2 transmission will happen over another frequency range. So that is called as FDMA. So this is called reusability of frequency spectrum also, whenever two terminals or two senders are using different band of frequencies for different kinds of transmission. So hidden and exposed terminal, we have discussed many things about that. So you first explain what is meant by hidden and exposed terminal and how can it be solved. So it is actually another MAC issue, and they are solved by MACA W and MACA to a very greater extent. Okay. Next one is resource constraint. Resource means there are mainly two resources. One is bandwidth resource, which is already explained at the top. Another is energy resource. Okay, so resource constraint means battery life and processing power. So processing power of the microcontroller, which is used as the brain of any sender node or any sensor node. So battery life and processing power are two important resources that are limited in wireless network, because you cannot use battery which will be serving the sensor node forever. Battery is going to get exhausted after certain number of transmission and reception. Processing power, so you can keep a very strong, very big, very highly efficient microcontroller, but a higher end of microcontroller is using more amount of energy, more amount of battery power. So too much powerful of processing microcontroller, processing ability microcontroller, you cannot use in sender node. So it should be a smart microcontroller used in sender node who uses less amount of battery power. That is actually the best microcontroller for any sender node used in ad hoc wireless network. So battery life and processing power are two important resources that are limited in wireless network. Why do you need a microcontroller? Because small amount of data processing or data channelization should be used in case of the sender nodes. Okay, so there is a size and weight constraint for node of wireless network. We cannot design wireless sensor network very heavy, very big. Okay, it uses too much of processing power. Not possible, because it is not a computer or a laptop. It is a very small sensor node or sender node. So it should be lightweight, it should be less in cost. Too much powerful, too much big microcontroller will cost more. Nobody is going to buy your sender node in that case. Okay, so battery life and processing power. So what is the main word? Main word is optimality. It cannot be very less, it cannot be too high. Okay, so what is the best battery, what is the best microcontroller that can be used? It all depends on the application, and you have to give an optimal design. So increasing battery power and processing ability makes node bulky, very weighty and unwanted. So too much of processing capability is not required, because this is not a microprocessor, this is not a computer. Okay, little bit of processing ability is okay enough. Okay, and too much of battery, you are giving a huge big battery connecting to the sensor node. Not possible, because sometimes sensor nodes are supposed to move from one place to another. Okay, so too much bulky battery in that case will reduce the mobility of the sender node. That is also not wanted. Okay, so all these are controlling things. So optimal design and optimal management of resources are the most essential for wireless network. So nothing should be too much, nothing should be too less. Battery should not be too much big, it should not be too small. Processing capability should not be too much, processing capability should not be less. Okay, so depending on the application, we have to choose what is the battery life, what is the microcontroller, how much is the processing capability required. All this thing is a dynamic thing. So depending on application, we have to choose that. So wired network routing protocols can't be used for wireless network for all these reasons. This is the last slide we will be doing. Okay, features of ideal routing protocol. So if I say that ideal routing for ad hoc wireless network, what are the features to be followed? First thing, mobility should be as less as possible. Second thing, battery should be in such a way that it is optimal, and for every routing we get enough energy. For every routing we get enough bandwidth. So these three are the main thing. Hidden terminal, exposed terminal problem should be as less as possible. The channel should be as less error prone as possible. Okay, and there should not be too much noise around the transmission node and reception node. So all these things. So I have categorized it. It is placed here together. So this is also another question asked for 5 marks. That feature for ideal routing protocol. Previous 5 points: node mobility, bandwidth, error prone shared broadcast channel, hidden and exposed terminal, and resource constraint. These are design issues. And if it's an ideal routing protocol, what should be features of a ideal routing protocol? Let us see. So special routing protocols designed for wireless network should be, routing should be fully distributed. That means there should not be any centralized access point. There should not be any base station. It is distributed routing with less control overhead. That means data should be more transmitted, that RTS, CTS acknowledgement should be as less as possible. So overhead should be as less as possible. Hence, it is more scalable than centralized routing. Okay. Distributed routing is more fault tolerant than centralized routing. So whenever there is distributed routing, it should be able to take into its stride if there is any fault happening. Okay, if there is any intermediate or any loss kind of thing, any node dies, any link dies, in that case also the routing protocol should be able to maintain its performance. That's why it is saying that distributed routing is more fault tolerant than centralized routing. See, centralized routing is more properly predictable. Okay, unpredictability is less in centralized routing. Risk is less in centralized routing, because there is a base station at the center. Base station is having enough generator power or battery backup, so the amount of error, amount of possibility of error in centralized routing is less. Whereas distributed routing or ad hoc routing, one single point failure and the whole routing is gone. Okay, that's why it says that distributed routing has to be more fault tolerant than centralized routing, and distributed routing is to be risk proof. Okay, so if there occurs any kind of risk, it should be the distributed routing should be able to take care of that. So that is the best feature. Distributed routing is if it is more fault tolerant and if it is less risk in distributed routing, that is the best. That is what we dream for. Okay. Second thing, it must be adaptive to frequent topology changes caused due to node mobility. So huge amount of mobility is actually the problem of ad hoc routing. So that should be as less as possible. Route computation and maintenance must involve minimum nodes. Minimum node means minimum mobility, less amount of failure. Route access by node should be quick. So quickly the data transmission or route decision should happen. Minimum connection setup time is desired between sender to the receiver. Route must be localized to reduce huge control overhead of global routing. So global routing means all nodes are keeping track of what's happening around to it. So every node should have other node information. Route must be loop free and also free from stale routes. Stale routes means some node has died. Okay, so that is called stale route. That route path has gone bad. Okay. So whenever you are finding the routing table, at that time the stale routes or dead routes should be avoided, should be removed from the overall routing list. Packet collision must be minimum by limiting broadcast made by each node. Transmission should be reliable. Message loss should be actually zero. After the network topology becomes stable, that means dynamic movement is less. After the network topology becomes stable, it must converge quickly to optimal routes. So there are many routes from here to Bangalore. There are 5 paths, but one path is best. That is called optimal route. Route should have optimal use of network resources like bandwidth, computing power, memory, and battery power. So here, 4 main resources I have mentioned: bandwidth, computing power, that is microcontroller facility, memory, and battery power. So these are the 4 things which are main routing parameters for any network. They should be used in a very judicious manner, very properly, optimally they should be used. Every node in network must try to save a stable local topology information. So whenever there is a perfect path between transmitter and receiver, the network or the node should remember that yes, from this sender to this receiver, this path should be used every time. That we have seen soft selection. So that soft convergence is actually the same thing. So every node and network must try to save stable local topology information. Frequent node topology change in remote part of network should affect route performance. So whichever path the is used between the sender and receiver safely and successfully, every time the network would try to use the same path. Okay, that is actually called as frequent node topology change is actually not accepted. The same amount of topology from sender to the receiver is to be used every time if possible. Okay, that means whenever you are going from one place to other, go by the known nodes, go by the known paths. Okay, that is actually the saved local topology info. This is actually ideal cases. So ideally what should happen is explained here. And last thing, it should be able to provide certain level of quality of service demanded by application. So quality of service is having 3 things. Data should reach from transmitter to the receiver within time. Data should receive at the receiver side without drop of any packet. And whenever data is received, the data should be unaltered. There should not be any kind of aliasing or any kind of disruption in the data. So quality of data, amount of data, and time of transmission. These 3 things together are the main points in QoS. So it should be able to provide certain level of QoS demanded by the application. That is the topology routing protocol should provide certain level of QoS, and it should offer support for time sensitive and real time data traffic. That means if I'm transmitting voice data, if I'm transmitting very sensitive data, then also with all mobility, with all constant battery power, constant bandwidth, with all this negativity also, the network should be able to communicate data from the sender to the receiver. So like we tell to the students, let there be very difficult family time, let there be COVID, let there be all sort of problems, but you should score good marks. Okay, so that is actually the ideal feature, that anything bad happens to the network, then also the network should be able to work very perfectly. So these are actually ideal features of routing protocol. Next, we will see classification of routing protocol, and then we will see the first type of routing, which is called as DSDV routing table. We will be seeing it on the next day. So tomorrow we will start with the classification of routing protocol, and we will see DSDV type of routing protocol. So that's all from me today. Thank you. I'll be uploading all the slides today itself. That's all from my side. Thank you.